will convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children.
There is nothing nefarious going on here, folks, and you better not watch this video or else you could be labeled a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Yes, we have multiple studies now indicating severe behavioral changes in those who receive mRNA shots. And that's because now a study by Ota and colleagues that found the mRNA, vaccine mRNA, and spike protein was being produced in cerebral arteries of stroke patients. We know the mRNA shots based on the second largest COVID vaccine safety study ever conducted with 85 million people in it. They found 200% increased risk of stroke after dose 2 of mRNA shots. So we do know it goes to the brain, causes brain damage, neuronal destruction, and that is reflective onto neuropsychiatric conditions. That was found now in a study by Dr. James Thorpe and colleagues. They actually identified 86 neuropsychiatric safety signals for these COVID shots, including homicidal tendencies, psychosis, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, cognitive impairment, violent behavior. All of this stuff was found to be in far exceedance of what was reported with the flu vaccinations. And so this is so concerning, and this also corroborates multiple other studies. One out of Korea that found increased Alzheimer's risks, increased cognitive impairment risks, and also another study, I believe also out of Korea, found massive increased risks of depression, sleep disorders, and anxiety from these injections. And so we clearly now know, based on the peer-reviewed evidence, it damages the brain, causes brain damage, resulting in neuropsychiatric conditions.
Whether you know it or not, music is brainwashing you and throwing your vibration off. And here's proof. In 1950, the Rockefeller Foundation was primarily responsible for the decision to change the musical tuning from 432 hertz to 440 hertz. And guess what? There's proof that one frequency, 432 hertz, harmonizes your body, energy, and frequency. Whereas what most music is tuned to today, 440 hertz, throws your energy and body out of whack. But this was done on purpose. There was studies done to find this information out. And once they found out they can manipulate people through these frequencies, that's when they changed the musical tuning. That's why old music before 1950 sounds so different. It feels so different. And it wasn't an accident. Stay weird.
Hold on a second. We know that we may not have been told the truth about giants, and we know the whole story about, dinosaurs and dragons and which one it really is. But what about werewolves? What if I told you that many, many books talked all about werewolves up until like the 1800s, and now it all pretty much vanished? Well, a man named Patrick just posted a video with 2 books from 1750, and he claims that the werewolves are being deleted and erased from history. Now, of course, officially, that's false. It's just folklore. But listen to this. In this book from 1750 called The History of Physic, which is their term back then for medicine, it has a 1 page out of many, but there could be more. This is just one screenshot I got. So this is on page what seems to be 18. The author writes, and for some reason, if you look here, this word "fatrange" is strange. The F's are S's, so it's strange and surprising. And so anyway, it's something I'm having to decode here. But basically, the persons affected go out of their houses in the nighttime and in everything imitate wolves and wander among the sepulchres of the dead till daybreak. You may know them by their symptoms. Their looks are pale, their eyes heavy, hollow, dry, without the least moisture of a tear. Anyway, it keeps on describing this strange thing that imitates wolves. Now, this does remind me of the story of Joe Barger, who shared a harrowing experience, you could say, in Manistee National Forest, which we know, the whole missing 411 thing, right? All the weird stuff that happens in national parks. Maybe they're national parks because that region is known to have certain energies or things or creatures. I don't know. But a lot of people are going missing in national parks and not just getting lost, like under seriously mysterious circumstances. But anyways, he experienced a towering wolf-like cryptid dogman, wolfman, werewolf that matched his semi-truck speed, paced alongside the cab, and looked directly through the passenger window. And this is a guy like a, freaking white, blue-collar dude who's walking around. I mean, I don't know why he would lie about a werewolf. And he's not gaining anything from this either. He's not monetized. I don't think he's not, profiting off of his story with a werewolf. I'm trying to get out of being a truck driver, so I'm going to make up this crazy story. It doesn't really seem like that. And so, anyways, are werewolves a mythical fairy tale, or was there some truth to some new kind of strange or old ancient strange creature, much like Bigfoot? Should we do videos on Bigfoot? I don't know. Let me know, because there's some weird stuff about that too. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
120 ingredients in a single sandwich. After years of denial, Burger King has quietly released their ingredient list, and it's causing outrage. With the same silicone from Silly Putty seared into every burger.
Burger King didn't just cram 100 ingredients. They hit something worse. Every sandwich starts as grisly rib scraps, thrashed in a vacuum tumbler until every fiber is torn, then injected with the same binder used in laundry detergent, ballooning into a soggy pink log. That dripping flesh is then crammed into wet batter, spiked with pyrophosphate, the same acid used to strip rust, scorched in Silly Putty oil, and stuffed into a 30-chemical bun. A single order flagged 5 phosphate additives linked to vascular calcification.
120 ingredients in a single sandwich.
Here's how to avoid buying lab-grown meat now that it's being rolled out all over the place. I'm pretty sure Costco or somewhere in California approved lab-grown salmon. They're doing beef. There's going to be butter, lab-grown butter. Oh yeah, that's the lab-grown chocolate. I just made a video about lab-grown chocolate. It's coming out. Here's how to avoid the lab-grown meat though. Now, you may be thinking just look out for the lab-grown label on it, right? No, because no one would buy it if it says lab-grown. Instead, they use sweet-sounding words to make it seem more natural. Instead, you want to look out for the label cell cultivated or cell culture. This is the bioreactor that they use to cultivate the cells, but cultivation sounds like growing. It sounds like an agricultural product rather than a factory-made product. Same thing with GMOs. They don't say this product contains GMOs anymore. It says contains bioengineered food ingredients, which is kind of a bit more of a complicated and a little bit of a hidden way to say this has GMOs in it, because the public seemingly isn't interested in buying a whole bunch of GMOs if they knew it was in there. But the official story is they say, we don't want people to know and be aware of, and it say GMOs, because they don't understand the science. This is what Monsanto and stuff is saying, is that people don't understand the science, so they'll be falsely afraid of genetically modified food, so we're going to call it bioengineered food instead. So the bioreactor is, they take a closed, sterile tank system, and they grow animal stem cells into lab-grown, cultivated meat. And this is really interesting. It kind of reminds me of the movie Soylent Green, although I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm just saying, it just reminds me they're growing the food in a lab rather than, but they're saying that there's too many animals, there's too many cows, and they're farting too much. I don't know if I buy that story, though. Let me know your thoughts, though. Are you going to look out for cell-cultivated meat now and try it out? Or are you going to run away from that with a 10-foot pole, man?
70% of all autoimmune cases I've ever seen in my practice were actually caused by parasites. All of them. We're talking rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, fibromyalgia, Sjogren's. There was always an underlying parasitic cause. Just so y'all know too, if you want to know something very interesting, 50% of all cancerous tumors, polyps that I was ever seen in my patients in my practice actually weren't cancer. They were actually parasitic egg sacs, misdiagnosed as cancerous tumors. If you want to know just how huge the misdiagnosis of cancer for parasites is, look at every research study published that ivermectin cures certain cancers. Ivermectin is an anti-parasitic drug specifically, but it's being used around the world to combat and cure all types of cancers. You want to know why that works? Because most of them are parasites. Well, if you knew they were parasites, you wouldn't need chemotherapy and radiation to cure or treat cancer patients in these cancer institutions all around America. If you never taught the oncologist to look for parasites as the cause, or that the cancerous tumor or mass you're looking at is actually parasitic egg sacs, if you never got that training, you wouldn't even know that was a possibility. So if you never acknowledge that, you would never know that there are cheap alternatives to kill parasites and remove them from the human body, all naturally even, versus having to use chemotherapy and radiation to try to kill all cells in the human body, hoping you don't kill the person.
2 out of 1,000 gods. Why do you think yours is the right one? Simple. He's the one that you hate.
Excuse me?
I mean, think about it. Zeus doesn't bother you. Ra doesn't bother you. There's nobody that's angry at Poseidon right now, but as soon as you mention Jesus, all of a sudden you have an entire speech ready.
That's not even evidence. That's an insult.
It's not an insult. It's Romans chapter 1. Paul wrote that people suppress the truth about God because deep down, they already know it. You don't fight against something you actually think is fake. Nobody's out here arguing about Santa Claus or Jack and the Beanstalk at 30 years old.
So I'm just lying to myself?
I'm saying that the anger is what's giving it all away. Real indifference is quiet, but yours isn't so quiet.
Yeah, well, maybe I just don't like what Christians do in his name.
Fair, and a lot of us do get that wrong, but that is a critique on us as Christians, not proof that he isn't real. The question was never whether or not Christians are perfect, it's whether he is telling the truth, and the very fact that you can't walk away from that question is the answer.
Are any communications apps, Signal, WhatsApp, iMessage, or any of them actually secure?
No.
Not even Signal?
Signal is the worst.
What? How is Signal the worst?
Because everyone is using it. And the US government is laughing because they have a big door.
But I mean, people with, I happen to know, with real secrets use Signal, and they're convinced that no one can hear or read them on Signal, but they're wrong. You're sure of that?
Yeah, there's nothing I would recommend other than not using any communication tools at all.
Really? So if you wanted to, I don't know, organize resistance to tyranny, you couldn't?
No, you can't.
They found that CT scans would likely contribute or cause 5% of cancers annually. 100,000 plus cancers would come from CT scanning alone. They've done studies to show that mammography does not change mortality, meaning we have plenty more women diagnosed with breast cancer, yet women are not living longer because of that. I've had patients who diagnosed from a mammogram with breast cancer, then they go down the chemo path, they go down the radiation path. That can be ultimately what kills them, not the cancer. We're being pushed and coerced in a certain direction that if you don't screen for it, you're doing something wrong. I have an innate trust in the human body that God created to figure things out.
So you don't get screened?
I don't do those screenings, no. The problem once you know is you can't unknow. And you're gonna be anxious every day until you do something about it. It's a slippery slope. When you've got that anxiety, what do people do? Well, now they're drinking. Now they need more benzos. That anxiety and that stress, that'll wear.
One of the most infamous dictators of the 21st century has been sentenced to death. But there's one major problem. They can't actually kill him. The former president of Syria for 14 years, Bashar al-Assad, along with his brother and cousin, have been found guilty of murder, torture, arbitrary detention, crimes against humanity, using chemical weapons. I mean, you get the point. In fact, under his rule, roughly 500,000 people died in Syria's brutal 14-year civil war. But even before Bashar came into power, his father came before him, meaning the Assad regime ruled Syria for nearly 50 years. But there's a reason why in the last 100 years of convicted world leaders, very few have actually faced execution. And after al-Assad was pushed out of power, he fled to Russia, where he currently remains. Now, Syria's new rulers have asked Putin to send him back, but it seems unlikely. So even if he has a death sentence, he may never.
Shout out to our favorite MD, Anthony Fauci.
I might not be the same, but that's not important. No freedom till we're equal. Damn right I support it.
Joy comes in the morning. Trouble. Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help
for a pride parade. Families marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. This family has two mommies, they love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big hooray. Family.
We know he's God, he's no longer just being here. In honor of his legacy, we're not rioting, God. We're not shaming anybody, God. We're just humbling ourselves before.
If you were asked to put a mini data center in your home, would you? And why do I ask that? Because one individual did, and he's finding out the hard way that there's no way to get rid of it. Have a listen to this for yourself.
So y'all, I'm the first one to have a mini data center in my house.
they're paying me monthly to house this data center. Pretty sweet. So if you can't beat them, work with them, I guess, you know.
So his philosophy is, if you can't beat him, work with him. And they're paying him $150 a month in Arizona to house that data center in his home. Now, he did call them because he wanted it removed. And they told him that they would have to bulldoze down a part of the house because anything that's in contact with the data center needs to be removed. And now they're trying to buy his property outright. Have a listen to the rest of this.
So it's 6 in the morning. I got a text at like 5 in the morning from the realtor or the guy that wants to buy the property. And it's super weird. It's a super weird dude now, honestly. He said, I left you and your daughters a gift at the front of your property on the Rock Gabion area. And I haven't went over there. I'm gonna cook breakfast first, but I haven't went over there. And I was like, what in the world? Like, who does this? Who says this? Who gives gifts? Like.
So as you just heard, it's getting weirder and weirder according to him. The real estate person sent him a text at 6 a.m. telling him he left gifts for himself and his daughter at their front gate. They want the property. So to recap all of the madness that he's going through, he put a data center in his home. He's getting paid $150 to house it per month. He told them he wanted it out. They told him they would have to bulldoze a portion of the property that's connected to the data center. And when he told them no, now they're trying to outright buy the property from him. And they're even giving him gifts and texting him at all weird hours of the morning. So my question to you is, would you go through all of this? Would you put a personal data center in your home just for $150 and possibly end up where this individual is right now? Might having to sell the home to them because they won't take no for an answer. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to.
Dragons are everywhere in ancient literature and artwork. Even the Bible mentions them. So why did dinosaurs become science and dragons become myth? Aren't they practically the same thing?
I've been in the industry for over 40 years, which is wild because some days I still feel like I'm 19 and other days I feel like I'm 119.
What do you mean, Megan? Some days you feel like 19, other days you feel like 119. Shh, shut up! Something is going on with Megan, guys. She says she's been acting for over 40 years. But how? She's 45 years old, so does that mean she started acting when she was 5? She was born in 1981 and started acting professionally at around age 10 in the early 1990s. So as of 2026, she's been in the entertainment industry for roughly 35 years, not 40 plus. Shut up! What is Megan talking about then? I mean, anybody would know how long they've been acting, right? Something's going on with Megan, good, right? And I hope everything is all good. Shut up! It's not a game out here, guys. People are saying that she's a time traveler, but no, she's not. She's an actor. Stop it. I'm just playing my guys. Entertainment purposes only. Shout out to Megan. Good. Always wonder why these actors get with everybody in the industry and never date outside of the industry. That's a whole nother story. Let me know what you think about this, guys. She's capping about how long she's been in the music industry acting. Let me know what you think. I'm out.
I bet you never knew that this famous child actor got offered hundreds and thousands of hush money by this popular children's network. Watch this video.
Nickelodeon offered you hundreds of thousands of dollars in hush money. You didn't take it.
I think I did something that was really hard to do. I've chosen a path of integrity. When I first went to therapy, the therapist, I was sharing some stories about my mom, and the therapist said, Jeanette, what you're talking about is abuse. And I quit that therapist.
You see, the thing is, the law works on unreasonable doubt. So if you've done absolutely nothing wrong, why would you ever be offering to pay someone off? Now, we all know who wrote the script. We all know what he was about. And some of the strange things that these poor people had to act out that are just not appropriate in any way, unless your mind works in a certain way. And it does make you wonder, how many other people have been silenced with payments and that have not been in the public?
Has anybody
anybody else feeling like it's a real life Hunger Games going on out there? Okay. The entire West Coast is completely on fire. We're talking, I mean, from Canada, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, clear over to Colorado, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the East Coast is completely being ripped apart by floods and tornadoes. It's literally looking like entire countries are burning down right now. And what's interesting to me is year after year after year, it's like the same locations, because this looks exactly like 2025 and 2024, and I know this because I've been documenting them. America and Canada in 2025. America, Canada, and Brazil in 2024. It looks like one side of Brazil was burning in 2024, and this is Brazil in 2026. I have never seen this many fires in all of my life as I have seen in the past 4, 5, 6 years. It looks like entire countries are being ravaged. What I will say is that this map and this map look almost identical to this map. Can someone tell me what's going on?
Every single time after he was a victim, he would call 911 and confess to the victim and be like, there was this woman that he met. Her name was Karen Patek. He met her after a New Year's Eve type of party, and he offered her a ride home and ended up beating her, fracturing her skull, but she's one of the lucky ones that ended up surviving and stuff, right? 6 months later after that, he ends up coming across this 18-year-old girl named Kimberly Compton. Same thing, he offered her a ride home. He ended up brutally this girl with an ice pick a bunch of times, bro. And the reason why they call him the weepy whining killer, every single time after he would kill the victim, he would call 911 and confess to the victim and be like, I don't know why I'm doing this, I can't control it, I just somebody, can you guys please come to this place? They always showed up, but he would always get away from the police or whatever. And I'm gonna show you those 911 calls, bro, because it's definitely fucking eerie as
Fire emergency. Please don't talk to listen. I'm sorry, I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one over Facebook. I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm sick. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm sick. Where are you? I'm just gonna find it. There's so many guys in the street. It's me. I killed both people. Calm down.
That's one of the calls, right?
Yo, that sounds disturbing as fuck.
And these are the other ones.
And finally, I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody. That's right. She's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the engine. What's the address? I don't know. Who are you?
One of his last victims, she was able to escape and make it to the hospital on time before she bled out.
How did she even escape?
She basically fought back. She had hit him with like a glass bottle that cut him and stuff, right? And that gave her enough time to run away and find some help. And at the hospital, whenever she was a little bit more conscious, the authorities asked her what happened, can you describe us how this guy looked or whatever. And coincidentally enough, the weepy whining killer, he ends up...
That was like 20 something years ago, but she went to jail for insider trading.
But see, I think in that election was a Democratic president, so she didn't get a pardon. We seen NBA YoungBoy get a pardon.
Right, pardons are for sale.
They turned the country to a candy store.
For sure, for sure.
And then look at this. How is All-Star JR in prison, in jail, fighting for his life when he got attacked at a restaurant? And the person who did it, no charges. The fix is in. All of the world is a stage, bro. They call the political field theater. That's what they call it. It's theater. When you go to have parliament meetings, they call it theater. The world is a stage. We got to question everything. The establishment got to fall because there's people doing life in jail for weed right now when you can go to the dispensary.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys got a pardon, right? I know Obama pardoned a lot of those guys.
Yeah, Kamala was the one put them all in jail.
I don't know if Trump is going to pardon a lot of drug guys, unless they're paying him. You know, because, I mean, drugs has been something Trump has been very much against. It's probably going to take a Democratic president for those pardons to happen.
I agree. But at the same time, if you got something legal on the state level, illegal on the federal level, that shows a civil war behind the scenes. Point blank. There's a battle going on between different sides in our government, and the people are going to have to intervene.
We got a UFO over California. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it could be a balloon, but wait till you see how it skedaddles out of there. See how it's kind of floating like a balloon? Get ready. This thing starts moving. There it goes, baby. There.
Do we really know how much the Earth is shifting right now? Take a look at this footage. It was captured by a man named Miguel out of Colombia. He captured what appears to be a mud volcano exploding out of the ground. Now, these are not rare phenomenons. They do happen, and in some countries they consistently happen. But it's the countries that don't normally see them that we should be questioning. So is this one of those circumstances? Take a look at the video, comment below, let us know what you think.
Yo tampoco, yo no sabía que ella había buscado. ¿Viste? Explotó ese allá, ¿de dónde? ¿De Cali? ¿De dónde? Era por el viento, o sea, abajo en la planta.
So the video almost looks like oil, right? Miguel did go to the site, and I have attached the additional videos. Be sure to comment below and let us know what you think.
Yo tampoco, yo no sabía que ella había buscado. ¿Viste? Explotó ese allá, ¿de dónde? ¿De Cali? ¿De dónde? Era por el viento, o sea, abajo en la planta.
Listen up. All right, so we had a total solar eclipse yesterday. And on top of that, there were tons of videos circulating the internet about Earth losing gravity for 7 seconds. And that it was supposed to happen on August the 12th as well. And it was said that there would be millions that would die from this. So there were a lot of people freaking out. Y'all, the only way that this could happen, where millions of people would float up into the sky, would be the rapture. Gravity is nothing but a theory. Earth cannot lose gravity when gravity does not exist. Gravity is the magical force invented by a Freemason named Isaac Newton. And this theory was made to explain why bodies of water can stick to a ball. But it's quite simple. Objects fall or rise depending on their density. No gravity, just basic physics. Gravity is just one of the many strings that propagate NASA's lies. And it's used to discredit God's divinely created world. Just thought I'd put this out there for everyone.
This video is from a village in South America, a mountain village. You see what they saw in the sky? That's not a plane. That's not a bird. That's not Superman. Could be a drone, but it looks like some kind of pyramid-shaped object spinning a little bit while it stays stationary in the sky over South America. So, since we don't know what it is, it's definitely unidentified, flying, and it's an object. Doesn't mean it's from another planet, but it definitely does mean it's weird, baby cakes. It's weird. There have been a lot of UFO sightings in the past year or so in South America, especially Brazil. Yeah, I made a video a couple weeks ago about these 3 objects seen over Brazil. But this one from today, while also odd, looks nothing like those. But let me know, what do you think this could be that was just recently seen over South America in a mountain type of an area. I want your opinion, no matter what it is. Let me know in the comment section. Shavadoo Booskies, Shavadoo.
Someone please tell me what these people just found in a tree. Because it's pure nightmare fuel and I hate it. And it talks. Just watch. Watch.
Maybe that's the leftover swimmers. I don't know.
What do you think it is? So these people found this weird hole in a tree, and when they put their camera in it, they found out that there was a bunch of like roots growing out of this weird hole and moving around and being all gross. But while these people are conversing, you'll hear another voice talking over them saying, "Tell God." It's weird. What do you think it is? I've been around a lot of trees in my life. My dad owned a logging company. And I have to say I've never seen anything like this before. I've definitely never heard a tree say words before. I don't know if I would be brave enough to put my phone close to whatever the fuck this is. If somebody has answers, please let me.
Perez Hilton. Yeah. This was him covered in blood. People are saying online that Ariana Grande has connections to this whole case. In 2011, he actually went up to Ariana Grande, her mother, and said that, "Oh, can I be a part of your team? Can I manage your music?" Ariana Grande declined. She dropped the Pedal music video.
Yeah.
And in it, it was about Hollywood, right? She cut open a few people and like tried to give her contracts and ended up the same way Perez Hilton did. But I found this out recently. This is an ongoing thing. In 2014, Hilton criticized Ariana Grande's hairstyles, and then Ariana Grande's fans posted negative comments to his social media, including threats against his young son.
Whoa. There's probably more. There's probably a lot more. So is he okay now? Like what happened?
I don't know. So he was, I think he's just in the hospital. I don't know what happened with him. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, maybe he's going through something really, really bad mentally because he sees Ariana Grande doing all these things and being successful.
Today, the government has taken the decision to list a second organisation as a prohibited hate group. Today, the organisation that would be colloquially known as the neo-Nazis, but has gone through different names, the European Australian Movement, the National Socialist Network, and White Australia, has been listed as the second prohibited hate group. The neo-Nazis have gone after almost every different group you can imagine, whether people are Jewish, whether they are Muslim, whether people are of Asian heritage, whether they're First Nations. They've engaged in a series of examples of bigotry, all of which fit with their white supremacist ideology. It's been made clear today that under Australian law, they are now a banned organisation. Supporting, funding, training, recruiting, joining or directing this group constitutes a criminal offence with a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison. None of this will stop bigoted people from having horrific ideologies, but it does prevent this group from organising, from meeting, and prevent some of the sorts of horrific bigoted rallies that we've seen around our country. It sends a clear message to people who believe in racial supremacy that their views have no place in modern Australia. We're a country that judges you on who you are, not on where you're from.
Listen up, kiddos, and send this to your commie friends. I'm going to explain to you why socialism and communism never works out and why the left romanticize it. And before the Lib Dem trust fund babies throw a tantrum, don't get mad at me, I just report the facts. Socialism is a cute idea and could work if there were no evil in the world, but we live on planet Earth, so let's be realistic. According to Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, socialism is the transitional stage between capitalism and communism. Every attempt to build true communism has stopped at socialism. Reasons being centralization of power, economic inefficiencies, human incentives, external pressures, corruption, and bureaucracy. Inevitably, it turns into authoritarian state socialism like North Korea. It can turn into a hybrid system like China or Vietnam, or collapses into capitalism. There's a reason why when the Berlin Wall fell, one side ran to the other. But I get it, you guys, you want to romanticize it because everyone's equal and we can all just live in a happy community. Well, it's not realistic, okay? I hope this has helped the blue-haired, septum-pierced, quadruple-boosted comrades out there. Okay, thanks.
Have a nice day. Take care, guys. God bless you. God bless you too. Take care, guys. God bless you too. I wish I wasn't allergic, bro. Like the dogs.
What does Kai mean he wish he wasn't allergic? Allergic to what? People are saying that those people told Kai and Speed, God bless you, and Speed was the only one that said it back. Kai didn't say nothing back. And then Kai said, I wish I wasn't allergic. Allergic to what? Allergic to what? What are you talking about, Kai Cenat? Let's not forget, guys, Speed was trying to get in contact with Kai Cenat. He didn't pick the phone up. He didn't even answer his text messages. Something's going on here, guys, and I know you know what's going on because these two were very cool. So it doesn't matter how much you're working, you have time to answer a phone call or a text message. No one is too busy to answer the phone for anyone. But ever since he got caught up in HW, he hasn't been answering his phone, right? What's the irony? And now he's streaming with him all of a sudden. Notice how Speed was looking at him like, Speed knows what's up. Not just playing about, guys. Entertainment purposes only, ain't nothing going on here. Kai Cenat is back, streaming with Speed, finally, right? After not answering his calls and his text messages. I don't know what's going on with Kai, or maybe I do. Let me know what you think about this because this is getting actually very strange.
Do any of you actually remember what you were like before you woke up, before you realized that the government's all frauds? Before you realized that we're not living on a spinning ball of water in outer space? You know, it brings me to my next point. Whenever I hear there's going to be a meteor shower or, you know, there's a shooting star, I'm like, there's something spiritual going on out there. And I don't care how stupid I sound, but it's like, I can't remember who I was prior to who I am right now. I can't wrap my brain around some of the things that I believed and the people I trusted. It's kind of crazy. It's an interesting awakening, even politically. Between 9 months ago to right now, I can't believe how much has changed about me and how I view politics and how I view all of them. I believe that there are levels of the awakening and you cannot see the entire picture unless you are awakened to all of it. I feel like it all starts with flat earth. I really, really do. And then after that, your entire reality has completely shifted. I was never really a Hollywood worshiper per se. I was a fan of this or that person because I like their acting, but once I woke up, I can't see anything the same anymore. There are some actors that I absolutely loathe. Jason Momoa, you're one of them. Ew. Before I knew about you, ew anyway. And it's a lonely time. It's a lonely time. It kind of sets you apart from everybody else. Friends, family, society. And you find yourself talking to yourself about what's going on in the world because no one else has time to hear it because they're all working their 9 to 5s and being part of the system. I believe in a few more months there's going to be another awakening. I truly do, and I'm very curious to see how America reacts to that. How much longer can this show go on? More people are awake now than ever, but we got some more work to do, for sure.
These pilots or occupants of these craft, to your knowledge, been taken alive?
Yes, and I know people who have had direct interactions in a detainment situation, which sounds very Star Trek and sounds very crazy, but it is true. And I talked to a former cabinet member about that who directly worked the issue for a particular former vice president. You can guess which one. Darth Vader.
And were they able to communicate?
Yes. And it is true that some sort of consciousness communication, of course, people call it telepathy. I cannot begin to tell you how it works, but there is some sort of communication like that. And even friends of mine that were on retrievals felt that kind of communication as they approached the vehicle when they were doing cordoning it off, waiting for transport. How that works, what that means, I certainly don't know. I'm as curious as the average viewer on your show on how that works. And it does feel very Star Trek to me. I have no personal experience with anything like that that's outside of my normal, human experience. But that is indeed, what people have experienced in the government with these things. So.
Yet another content creator has just been killed in a helicopter crash in Brazil. And now authorities are calling for these helicopter trips in Rio to be suspended. This is 17-year-old Sofia Murillo, a popular beauty content creator from Colombia. And over the weekend, she was seen on a sightseeing helicopter ride in Rio with her mother and grandmother to see Rio's Christ the Redeemer statue. But for reasons we don't know yet, the helicopter crashed in a wooded area, leaving no survivors. And because this comes just 2 months after Oliver Tree also died in a helicopter in Rio, it started to raise some serious questions about the safety of these aerial trips in the city. In fact, this incident has prompted Rio's mayor to request a temporary suspension of scenic tourism flights, while authorities work on enforcing stricter safety audits.
I don't even know if we've ever talked about on this podcast is these hieroglyphs from ancient Egypt. That looks like a helicopter. This looks like some kind of speeder from Star Wars. This looks like some kind of flying ship, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If it's not what we think it looks like, what the heck is it?
There's hieroglyphs that show computer screens, like flat monitors and stuff as well. And
but just
keyboards.
Specifically this, like what is that?
Yeah,
it definitely looks like a helicopter.
And tell me that doesn't look like it's straight out of Star Wars right there.
Yeah, even the bottom thing looks like a little pod as well with a big tail wing, some kind of ship that we just don't know what that is. Yeah.
And this thing looks like an airship.
Yeah.
We always bring up the Raiders of the Lost Ark. In that movie, they're showing something biblical, the Ark of the Covenant. This is a mythology about this thing. A lot of people don't believe it's real. The bad Germans are going looking for it. So then the 3-letter agencies, they send Indiana Jones to find it. Turns out it's 100% real. And what do? They take it and put it in a crate and they put it in this giant warehouse. And nobody ever gets to see it. What if they found something in ancient Egypt that was something similar to what is depicted in those hieroglyphs? Would they show it to us?
Well, they did find something.
No, answer the question.
I want the truth!
Would they show it to us?
Of course they wouldn't show it to us. Of course not.
Brian.
Of course not.
That's the whole point, is that if they found something that does not fit what they've already written, I think that they would.
What's up, America? Flock Camera's surveillance network is about to expand even more. So as of right now, here in the United States, there are approximately 130,000 Flock cameras. But Flock now has a partnership with a company called Nexar. And Nexar plans to install 350,000 Flock cameras for its Uber and Lyft drivers, as well as other delivery services. Now, Flock itself states that they want a minimum of 500,000 cameras nationwide. And that's just the first phase of their plan. But now we're adding Flock cameras in a partnership with Nexar to delivery vehicles, Lyft and Uber. And I'm sure it'll be every delivery vehicle coming up. So here's an image from one of these presentations showing Georgia's largest license plate reader network. You can see almost the entire state of Georgia is covered in any populated area. Then, of course, you see that hundreds of commercial businesses and HOAs are part of it, but Nexar will include 350,000 Uber, Lyft, and other delivery service devices. Now, I'm not sure if that's just 350,000 for Georgia or America. If it's just Georgia, then we're going to be looking at maybe millions or even tens of millions of Flock cameras in every single aspect of your life. Now, these Nexar cameras will be dash cams, so they'll be acting as de facto mobile Flock cameras. So you thought the Flock cameras attached to poles watching you was bad. This is mobile Flock. And of course, don't forget partners with Signal Trace, which use your data from your phone to match it with your license plate so they know it's you. So looks like the surveillance state nationwide is wrapping up pretty quickly. I've seen the CEO of Flock and I've seen the CEOs of all of these companies that are doing this. It's my belief that they eventually want to put cameras in your toilets to watch you piss and shit. And I'm actually serious on that. The way these companies act, it's like they want a camera in your toilet watching your dick or butt. I don't want Flock cameras or any system associated with them. I think you're creepy as fuck, bordering on child molester activity.
Does anyone else find this strange? People are saying that there is something that seems off about Anne Hathaway and her being pregnant. Again, people are saying that there is something very strange about Anne Hathaway posing like this. I mean, do you all find this to be as bizarre as a lot of other people are finding this? Or do you think all of this is normal? Again, I don't know what is going on here anymore, especially when it comes to these people in Hollywood or Hollyweird or whatever you want to call it. But you have to admit that something definitely seems off about all of this. At least from my vantage point, something seems off about all of this. But maybe there is nothing to this at all, right? And she's just pregnant, right? Maybe that's all that there is to this. Or maybe there is something more going on here. What do you all think about this? Comment.
I got some hot tips for you, baby.
Okay.
A good wife should greet you at the door with a smile, regardless of what you've done. That sounds like just a lady that has your back. Remember, her job is to support you emotionally while having none of her own emotions. If she disagrees, gently remind her, you are the man. I am the man. Wow, it's working. A well-trained wife speaks only when spoken to.
Wesley.
I know that it seems like I'm talking to you right now, but this is perfect. Keep it just like that. Lips together. Reward good behavior with compliments like, you're almost perfect. If she has a problem, simply tell her to calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Baby. Keep her busy with chores. Idle hands lead to opinions. And we don't want any of those now, do we? Never let her read books. That makes her think too much. Which is actually, that makes a lot of sense. Because when you read too much, like you could be doing chores, it just takes away your brain power to be doing other things that keep the household running smooth. A proper wife should always look beautiful, even while sleeping. Actually, I feel like this is a very important one. You should definitely take off your makeup after I've gone to sleep and then just wake up early, put your makeup back on, and then greet me with a fresh face. Smile. That's actually not one of the tips. I'm just tired of looking at your face all droopy like that. And most importantly, a wife should always obey her husband. Go ahead, finish that thought.
You have to be joking.
Oh my God. Look, these are just 10 tips from the 1950s that ChatGPT gave me.
A robot. A robot.
Wants you to be just like it. A robot, apparently. Listen,
You don't mean that.
I don't mean these tips. I want you to be exactly as you are. You're almost perfect. Whoa, calm down. Some of the tips are actually, they seem to be working. Thoughts?
Do you like the couch? Because that's where you're sleeping for the rest of the night.
Shocking to see the scale of what's taking place here. Behind me, I think we're probably 20 feet high or so, but
This
running back along this site,
isn't
doubles
AI.
in height, and you can see the depth. We're talking hundreds at least, if not thousands of tons of waste. And it's just extraordinary that this could have taken place, and that the criminals have put so much waste
This
into
is
our
England.
environment. Cherwell District Council officers who know the waste industry well have estimated that the cost of removing the enormous amount of waste here would be greater than the entire budget of Cherwell District Council. That's not something that local residents and taxpayers can afford, which is why I took the issue to government to say that we need urgent help. What's happening is across the country, criminal gangs are dumping waste on this scale, and it's going to require government intervention to allow us to clean up quickly before these kinds of pollutants leach their way into the River Cherwell.
Starting to look like other places in the world.
It's just shocking to see this.
This is the eclipse straight from Spain. Isn't it wild how every single time there is a major cosmological event, they come up with some narrative and they make it viral on why to not go watch this thing, or why to stay away from it, why to be scared. This happens every time. The April 8th eclipse, that it was supposedly going to be doomsday and some great event was going to happen under this eclipse. Now we'll get into nodes and the moon in just 1 minute. We know that all these things happening in the sky straight from the Bible says for signs, for times, for season, and for dates. That's why all these things happen. Now I told y'all in yesterday's video I traced this no gravity bullcrap back to a faceless TikTok channel which just coincidentally blew up, and it's almost like it's trying to make a mockery of God because again, the signs in the sky, the planetary alignment, and all the other stuff happening today. And of course I told y'all in the same exact video that we would not lose gravity. Y'all always miss the air quotes. And still people just arrogantly assumed in the first 5 seconds of the video that I was saying we're gonna lose gravity. No, as always with every single date we've heard the last few years, I doubt anything at all will happen tomorrow. The majority of humanity is in a bad state. And they're even so much more in a bad state, they don't understand these things happening in the sky are being displayed by God himself. But you can't blame them because they also believe that we came from monkeys. So when God's displaying marvelous signs in the heavens, it makes sense that they'd craft narratives to steal your attention away from that. And then we get to nodes, like the North Node. So last time in the April 8th eclipse, people were able to find out that, whoa, the moon was nowhere near the sun at the time of that eclipse. And this time around, they fixed it. Of course they did. But I do want to remind you in the first chapter of the Bible, it says that God made the sun and the moon as lights, a greater light and a lesser light. So being that both of them are lights, if the moon was to go in front of the sun and block it out, you'd still see a lesser light, of course, from the moon. And again, we saw with the April 8th eclipse that the moon was nowhere near the sun. So if not that, then what is it? Well, for thousands of years, there's been talk about nodes, like the North Node, these literal, invisible bodies that are in the heavens along with everything else that we just cannot see. Now, you might say, that's crazy, but think about the new lunar phase, the new moon phase, when it's just a slither, the other side of the moon is opaque, it's see-through, you can see the color of the sky right beside that slither of the moon, showing that nothing is actually there. So we really don't have an understanding of what's really happening in the skies, and they did that purposefully. But we do know one thing, that the eclipse, that sign that was in the sky, that God put it there for a reason, and they don't want us paying attention.
Untold secrets about money. Let's talk about what they never told you. Number 1, money is energy. It's a spirit. Everything begins in the mind. What you think, what you focus on, what you obsess over, you give life to it. In this world of matter, our exchange of energy is called money. But here's the truth. Paper money isn't just paper. When billions of people focus their energy, fear, and devotion towards it, they bring life into it. And when something has life, it attracts spiritual forces that feed on that energy. That's why money behaves like a living thing. It has conditions. And the first condition, money doesn't stay where it isn't appreciated. If you complain every time you pay your bills, if you speak lack and resentment over money, it won't stay in that energy. Money, being a spirit, seeks harmony. Secret number 2, money is water. That's why we say cash flow, pool of money, liquid assets, drowning in debt. The nature of water and the nature of money are the same. They flow towards open channels, not resistance. Secret number 3. Hard work doesn't guarantee wealth. We were all taught to work harder to earn more. But look around. Those who work the hardest often earn the least. If hard work created wealth, the laborers of the world would be the billionaires. It's not about hard work. It's about energetic alignment. Secret number 4. Lack of money is not poverty. Poverty is a mindset, a vibration of lack. Money is just the flow of energy. When you believe that having less means you're poor, you repel the very energy you're trying to call in. And then secret number 5. You don't chase money, you attract it. The word chase keeps you vibrating in lack, always running after what you think you don't have. Money follows universal law. What you radiate, you magnetize. So embody abundance now. Speak, think, and feel from the reality where you already have it. Because when you stop chasing and start aligning, money comes to you. Here's the real mastery. Don't become obsessed with money. Use it, bless it, and let it flow. But never let it be your own spirit. Money serves the physical. You are the soul. And when the spirit leads, abundance becomes inevitable. Love you guys. Peace out.
Does anyone else find this strange? What is going on here with Demi Lovato? I don't know what is going on here, but you have to admit that this is very bizarre. Again, what is going on with all of these celebrities anymore in Hollywood? There's something weird definitely going on. You can't deny it. I can't deny it. And when you see stuff like this right here, you really have to wonder what exactly is going on anymore with these celebrities. But maybe there is nothing to this at all, and she's just smiling for the cameras, right? Maybe that's all that there is to this right here, right? But again, this is kind of giving off smile type vibes. I mean, that's what it feels like to me, but then again, maybe I'm looking into this way too much and she's just smiling, and that's all that there is to this. What do you all think about this? Comment down below.
Anybody else notice that Kai Cenat hasn't been the same since LeBron James cut his dreads? Biggest streamer in the world is acting demonically possessed these days. People all point back to the moment LeBron James cut his dreads. It was almost ritualistic, like Kai didn't actually want to cut his hair. I think someone had a talk with him that if you want to get to that next level, you gotta show that you're willing to sacrifice. So we know you're down with the program. He's been acting really, really weird ever since that happened. A lot of people think the person we see today isn't the actual Kai Cenat we all used to know. But do you think Kai Cenat sold out? And if so, let me know in the comments.
Every train passes this abandoned station, but nobody is supposed to be inside. This station has been closed for decades, but trains still pass it every day, and some passengers try to film it as they pass. Recently, someone captured this.
That leading up to the 2020 election, Twitter had weekly meetings with not just the FBI, with DOJ, with DHS, with DNI, to conduct this unconstitutional censorship by surrogate. We know that because the Twitter files, correct?
Correct.
And it was not just meetings, not just censorship of stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story. We also now know that the FBI paid Twitter over $3.4 million of taxpayer funds to censor these stories before the 2020 election. Is that correct?
That money was paid. Twitter confirmed that.
And the Twitter files are just the tip of the iceberg, because there's so much more. There was a corrupt revolving door at the highest levels between the FBI and Twitter. Look no further than Jim Baker, former general counsel at the FBI, who helped unlawfully investigate Donald Trump in the 2016 election. Or look at Jim Comey's deputy chief of staff, who became the director of strategy at Twitter. Isn't it true, according to the Twitter files, that there were so many FBI officials who then went to work at Twitter that created their own Slack channel and crib sheet for onboarding? The Twitter files confirm that, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware, as the American people are aware, that according to polling, Of the people that were made aware of the Hunter Biden laptop story, 53% would have changed their vote, including 61% of Democrats. This is the definition of election meddling, and it's the definition of election meddling by the FBI on behalf of Democrats, paid for by the U.S. taxpayers. It's collusion, it's corruption, and it's unconstitutional. Ms. Parker, I want to go to you next about your experience at the FBI, because this is not just about the Twitter files, which folks are focused on because of the news it made. It's about a systemic rot in the culture and the politicization of the leadership of the FBI, and it needs to be rooted out. Let's take a step back. Let's look at the targeting illegally of parents who wanted to stand up for their kids at school board meetings. On September 29, 2021, the National School Boards Association sent a letter to Joe Biden equating parents at school board meetings to domestic terrorists. And on October 4th, Attorney General Merrick Garland issued a memorandum to the FBI and U.S. attorneys that the department would use federal enforcement tools to target and prosecute these parents. Do you consider parents as domestic terrorists?
I do not consider parents as domestic terrorists. No, I do not.
No, and neither do the American people. But there's more to this story. It goes back further than that initial letter on September 29th. Because the letter didn't happen organically, it was solicited. It was solicited by the White House and by the Secretary of Education. Essentially, the Biden administration laid the predicate for which it used to justify illegally targeting the American people, targeting these parents. Is it proper protocol as a former FBI officer to set that predicate, to manufacture the reasoning to justify opening an investigation?
I believe that no one should be targeted for free speech and that violence should never be tolerated under any circumstance, but it should definitely not. No one should be targeted because they want to speak up at a school board meeting.
This was a setup, and it was the setup, and it's the real definition of weaponization of the government against the American people. And it's not just this example of targeting parents at School Boards Association. It goes back to the opening of Crossfire Hurricane. It goes back to the faulty FISA application. It goes back to what we heard on that first panel from Senators Grassley and Johnson. It goes back to the suppression illegally of the Hunter Biden laptop story paid for by the U.S. taxpayers. This corruption needs to be rooted out, and it's not just about protecting the U.S. Constitution. It is most importantly about protecting the American people from the weaponization of the federal government against them. Yield back.
The fires going on north of Reno, Nevada, where I live, have gotten worse. That's Washoe County, north of me, but still Washoe County, where Reno is located. Now we got rain today, as expected, and we're supposed to get more tomorrow. But it hasn't really helped. You can kind of see the fire map here, just off of Pyramid Lake. That's Pyramid Lake, and that's where the reservation is. Just west of there is Spanish Springs, a big community. All of this is north of Reno. In fact, it's getting so bad, they've added to the evacuations. In the morning, there were 13,000 residents evacuated. Now it's more. And they're warning places close to there that their time to get out might be coming. So even counties in eastern California, which connects to Nevada, are getting warnings that they might have to leave because this thing is not contained. I'm not saying it's out of control, but it's not contained. And like I said originally, it's getting worse. I know that the firefighters, the other emergency responders, and the press that went out there are all doing the best they can. They're doing great. But the people in that area need this to end somehow. Okay, I'm keeping you updated because this has been on my mind since it's so close to me and we know people in that area. Till next time, hopefully not a fire update, but next time, Shabadoo-booshkis, Shabadoo.
This video has just come back around and people are losing it. Watch it with me. I want to know if you hear what I hear. A grown man said this out loud in an interview and everyone just watched. It was normal. Watch.
Who's your first celebrity crush? I don't care what my first celebrity crush was, because right now it's Kendall Jenner. Snagging that. Don't let me move to LA. Oof. I'm finding her.
Are you counting down the days until she's 18?
I'm not waiting until she's 18. I'll go now. I'm 23, dog. Like,
A grown man talking about a teenager saying that he wouldn't wait. But then it gets worse because he starts naming names of other rock stars that have done it. Like a list.
I'm not like a creepy age. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm 23, bro. She's 17 and she's like a celebrity. Like, there is no limits right there. Robert Plant, who is one of the greatest lead singers ever. For all y'all don't know, he sung for Led Zeppelin, dated a girl that was 14. Axl Rose, who was one of the biggest badasses ever, dated a girl that was 16 and wrote a song on his first album about the girl that was 16.
He'd already thought it through. This is not normal. I'll let the comments do the talking.
People mistake melatonin is I use it every night to go to sleep, or I wake up in the middle of the night, can't go back to sleep, I go grab a melatonin.
Why is that bad?
It doesn't work. Everything you see on this table has moderate to strong scientific evidence that it will help with sleep. Melatonin probably has more evidence than the rest of these things combined because it's a medicine. It's a drug. There's a ton of research on it from children to aging to bone health and tons of other stuff, right? It's a hormone. Nobody is going to be super concerned about risk factor profiles with eating 2 kiwis. But you start getting to the level of something like a melatonin, and now you have to have real conversations about risk versus benefits. The only real reason we use melatonin outside of some fringe cases is when we actually legitimately need to reset circadian rhythm, travel, jet lag, things like that. It is effective and it is useful there. It is safe in small doses. Where people mistake melatonin is I use it every night to go to sleep, and or I wake up in the middle of the night, can't go back to sleep, I go grab a melatonin.
Why is that bad?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work?
No, because the thing that melatonin is supposed to do is realign circadian rhythm. If you're in the middle of the night, you're already in that rhythm. It's not going to do anything.
How quickly acting is it?
It's person to person dependent, but a lot of times you'll see things like an hour before. Some people will feel a response in 10 to 15 minutes. Some people will feel it closer to an hour, but that's a pretty good window. Not the like, brush my teeth, take my melatonin, and like hop in bed sort of thing.
But hang on, if it's 2 a.m. in the morning and you're getting in bed, don't take it.
Don't take it at all. We're going to use this in very specific situations, and then we're coming off of it. This should not be a part of your nightly routine most of the time.
I've taken it a couple of times, always for jet lag issues.
Yeah.
And within about 30, 45 minutes, I feel a bit drowsy. And then I find my eyes shutting and I'm off.
Great. And then you get out that 2 or 3 day window, put it back away, and you're off and going. That's a good use case for it. The mistake is when this is like, I can't.
This is a map of the flock cameras in New York, and this picture, I mean, it just speaks 1,000 words. You can notice in the red square, there's oddly just no flock cameras in this area, and around it, there's a bunch of them. But if you look at exactly what's inside of that red square, just take a look. I mean...
It's getting real out here. It's getting real out here, guys. Shh, shut up! What is going on out here, bro? Things are changing very fast. Something is up. These concerts are getting out of hand. I'm not sure why anybody wants to come in on a giant snake. Shut up! You know why? Because it's entertaining. It's entertainment. People are saying that this is the book of life, and I doubt that. Shut up! Something is going on. These concerts are getting very strange. People are saying that it's not about the music anymore, but it is. That's why they do it. I'm not sure if this means time is running out, but the way things been looking lately, time is running out, allegedly. Shut up! People need to start moving with urgency. This is what I heard, because I would never say nothing like that. I'm just playing about guys, entertainment purposes only. These are concerts. These are how these artists perform. They come out on big snakes and big clocks and stuff like that. Nothing to think about. Just enjoy the show. I don't know what's going on out here. Let me know if you know what's going on out here. I'm out.
Upon further examination, it turns out that viruses, which are, said to cause many, many diseases and also really have no treatment with certain, kind of questionable exceptions,
right,
don't actually even exist in the real world. They simply are particles created in a laboratory experiment using like genetically modified kidney cells or other types of cell lines where they make a concoction. And of course, time and time again, they can always generate particles from this concoction because that's what happens when cells get damaged and poisoned. And they, can pick out different looking ones of these particles and call them X, Y, and Z, but it's essentially just a point and declare strategy. These particles don't come from a natural source. They're not present in diseased tissue. They've never been, put in a purified form in a test tube so they can actually do experiments to show that it causes something.